Now we are starting with the detailed study of functional group, that is ether. As you all know that ether is ROR, right? So this R is actually means they can be in alkyl groups. So if both the R are alkyl groups, so it is dialkyl ether. And it may happen that it is an alkyl group and it is a aryl group. If it is like present like that, then it is alkyl aryl ether. And if the both groups are aryl group, then it is particularly called as diaryl ether. So that means the R can be same also, R can be different also, R can be aliphatic and one can be aromatic. So any kind of thing we can found actually, but the general formula for ether remains the same, that is ROR, where R can be aliphatic group or an aromatic group, or can be two aromatics or can be two aliphatics. So now starting with the preparation, that how we can actually prepare it. So we can prepare it by following methods, like we can prepare it from by dehydration of alcohols. How? See, so the first method I am going to discuss is dehydration of alcohol. So as you all know, dehydration of alcohol means we are going to remove water from the alcohol. So I will take two alcohol molecules. Let's say we have C2H5OH, one more C2H5OH, the same one, because I am going to prepare symmetrical ethers through this. So I need to have same R on both the sides. So what happened, I am going to take a dehydrating agent. Let us take concentrated sulfuric acid and let us heat it at temperature 413 Kelvin. So what happened, they both get joined, and or you can say the ether is formed, and along with that we get a water molecule. See, it happens like this. It is ROR, so it is C2H5O, C2H5. So as you can see that this is R, this is particularly O, and this is R. So they are joining and they are forming this ether, and the water, and along with that you get a product, that is water. Now you know what happened, that actually when they react in this kind of reaction, we need to take care of temperature. We need to take care of temperature. So what we do is, like if what will happen if the temperature will exceed this thing, like if you have if you are using same things and the temperature is approximately 443 Kelvin, or it is higher than 413 Kelvin, then the water molecule may get evaporated and it may form the alkene. So that means in this reaction also and in this reaction also there is a chance of formation of alkene along with the ether. So in that case you need to take the alcohols in greater amount, and moreover you need to take care of the temperature also, because the temperature should not exceed 413 Kelvin, right. So this is what dehydration of alcohol. So in this method what I have taken the primary alcohol. I have taken the primary alcohol. But if I take the secondary alcohol, let us take first, then I will explain you that what is the harm in taking this secondary alcohol. Suppose I have this secondary alcohol. I am going to dehydrate in the same way concentrated sulfuric acid at temperature 413 Kelvin. So what happened actually, suppose I take two molecules of alcohol, but it is particularly secondary alcohol. As you can see, there are two R attached, so that means it is 2 degree. So what happened at this, like if I take this product, it forms both the products, it forms alkene also and it forms the ether also. But here let us first form, then I will tell you that what is the harm. So what kind of product we see? We see that it forms the ethene also, that means loss of water molecule H and OH, and also you get ether. With the same but in this case you know what happened is that alkene is the major product. Alkene is the major product, and here the ether is a minor product. So that is why we do not use secondary or tertiary alcohols. Instead of that we prefer primary alcohol. And there is a chance in this also that it may produce alkene, but here the alkene is going to act as a secondary product, but in this case it is going to act as a primary product. So therefore we do not take 2 degree or 3 degree alcohol. So I think it's clear. So if somebody is going to ask you about dehydration of alcohol, you are going to say that if we remove water by using a dehydrating agent and at a particular temperature we may get ether. But you need to keep in mind that you need to take 2 molecules of alcohol, because ether is ROR, so you will be needing 2 alkyl groups. And but 2 degree and 3 degree is not preferred in this case. The reason being because here when they undergo dehydration, in this they form alkene and ether, but here the alkene is a major product. That is why we avoid taking 2 degree and 3 degree alcohols. So this is the first method, that is by dehydration of alcohols you can actually prepare the ether. Second is catalytic dehydration. That means we are going to dehydrate it, but I am not only going to add a dehydrating agent, I am going to add a catalyst here. So my catalyst is going to cause the dehydration of alcohols. So let us take an alcohol, let's say it is C2H5OH. Again you need to take 2 alcohols, and suppose my catalyst is particularly Al2O3, temperature 473 approximate Kelvin. Then what happens? It forms an ether, but here the product is not alkene, we don't get alkene with that. So this is my ether. So this is what is the catalytic dehydration of alcohol. Third, I can prepare from alkyl halide, and there is a popular method called as Willemann synthesis. Willemann synthesis. This is a name reaction which you may get in your paper. So third method is from alkyl halide. You know that alkyl halide is particularly RX. So how I am going to do that? First I am going to take an alcohol, let's say my alcohol is ROH. So I am going to prepare a phenoxide ion, suppose I am going to react with Na, and what happened, Na being more reactive replace H, so I get metal alkoxide. Metal alkoxide, and which metal? Sodium, so it is sodium alkoxide. Now this sodium alkoxide is going to react with the alkyl halide. So this is sodium alkoxide, I react with alkyl halide, right. So what happened? It will form like this, ROR, and along with that we will get NaX. Let us take an example for it. Let's say we have CH3ONa, and here I have CH3Br. Particularly in this reaction, bromines, methyl bromide, methyl iodide, they are generally preferred because the bond between them is comparatively weak. So what happened? It will form CH3OCH3, and along with that you will get NaBr. The reaction will happen the same way I told you. So this reaction is called as Willemann synthesis. We can also prepare in this thing alkyl aryl halide, alkyl aryl ether from this process. Let's take an example. Suppose this is my phenol. So first I am going to prepare a phenoxide ion. So I react with sodium hydroxide, I heat. What happened? Na replace H, and we get a sodium phenoxide ion. Now this sodium phenoxide ion further reacts with Rx, and what as a result we get? The same thing, but the difference is that here we had this thing, the aromatic compound, otherwise everything remains the same. So this is again is called as Willemann's synthesis. So we can prepare by using the alkyl halide, by reacting them with the metal alkoxide with alkyl halide. So this first step which I showed you, this one, that where I was preparing this thing, the sodium phenoxide ion, or here I was preparing a metal alkoxide, you may or may not show. You can also write the direct reaction, or you may also show that first the preparation of RONA and then how it reacts to form ether, you can also show that. So it's your choice that whether you want to show a basic step also, or you need to show a direct step individually. So it's up to you. Next is again from alkyl halide by using Ag2O. So how we prepare from alkyl halide using Ag2O? Again we need to use 2 Rx here. So it will particularly form ROR plus AgX. So this is how you are going to prepare this thing ether by using either of the preparations. So now we are over with the preparations. I think you got it. So we can prepare it by dehydration of alcohols. I think you know that we need to take care of the temperature, why secondary and tertiary alcohols are not used actually, and what product do you get along with that, and what is catalytic dehydration, what is the catalyst basically used, what is Willemann synthesis, how you can prepare an alkyl aryl ether, and how you can prepare by using the silver oxide. Now coming on to the properties, physical properties. Now if we talk about the physical state first, that how ether actually exists. So you will know that the lower members, if I talk about the lower members, they are generally gases, and higher members are liquids with pleasant odor. They have a pleasant odor. This is how they exist. Second, talking of their solubility, that whether they are soluble in water or not. I'll just utilize the space. So we know that solubility factor is governed that whether a substance can form an hydrogen bond with water or not. So we have seen that ether can actually form hydrogen bonds with water, like I'm just making a structure. So suppose this is my ROR. This is the hydrogen bonding. So this kind of bond, hydrogen bonding, is seen in the ether. So that means it is capable of making a hydrogen bond. And the substance which is capable of making a hydrogen bond is obviously soluble in water, because like dissolves like. But here you know that as the, you can say, the number of carbon atom increases, as the molecular mass actually you can say increases, then the solubility actually decreases. Why? Because here when you increase with the members, with the higher members, they will be more, there will be bigger alkyl group, and alkyl group is something you can say non-polar, or you can say it is not soluble in water. So when there is a certain group which is non-polar in nature, which is not capable of making a hydrogen bond, or which just try to resist itself from water, so that means it will somehow decrease the solubility. So if somebody is going to ask you about solubility, you are going to say that yes, it's soluble because it is capable of making a hydrogen bond, show like this, and just tell that. But when the molecular mass increase, or when we talk of the higher members from lower to higher, the solubility is actually gradually decreasing. The reason being the alkyl group size is actually increasing, and alkyl group is actually water repelling. So obviously the non-soluble character increases. So this is how you are going to explain the solubility. Third is the dipole moment. It is a polar molecule. So if we look for its structure, that what kind of structure it actually possesses. So it possesses structure like water with two lone pairs. As we know that water has structure like this, we have already done in the chemical bonding as well. So likewise ether has the structure, but here the here the angle is 104 degree, but here the angle is something 110 degree. The reason being more repulsions between this alkyl group. So they just split away and the angle is 110 degree. But if we talk about dipole moment, they actually possess the dipole moment. So it is a polar molecule. And what is the name for this symmetry? It is angular or bent. So that means it possesses the dipole moment. It's polar in nature. Next property we are going to discuss is the boiling point. You know that the forces which are operating within the molecule just decides the boiling point. If the forces are strong enough, that means the boiling point is going to be high, and if forces are not so strong, then that means the boiling point will be lowered. So here if we talk about the boiling point, so what do we see actually? So when we talk of boiling point in this case, so boiling point is like if we compare with alcohols, then ether have low boiling point as compared to alcohol. Reason being, the ether cannot make so you can say that all ethers cannot show hydrogen bonding, and moreover hydrogen bond formed is not so strong as well, and it is less polar as compared to the alcohol. So that means less dipole moment or less polarity, and the second factor that means they are less keen in forming the hydrogen bonds as compared to alcohols. So that means in them there are forces, but the forces are not so you can say up to the mark. They are weak van der Waals force, but as compared to the alcohols, the forces present in alcohol is quite high. So that means the ether is going to possess the low boiling point if we compare it with the alcohols. So if you get a question that compare the boiling point of alcohol and ether, you should quick with your answer that alcohol has more dipole moment, it is more polar, and the hydrogen bond formed between it by it is comparatively more stronger. And here if we talk of ether, so they are forming a less you can say the less strength is there for hydrogen bonding, and moreover if we talk about the polarity, it has the less polarity. So that means that boiling point is comparatively lower. So this is how you are going to discuss with the boiling point. But as we increase with the members from lower to higher, then what we observe that as we move up with the higher members, molecular mass is increased. That means van der Waals forces are increasing because they just increase with the size. So that means boiling point is also gradually increases. But if we compare it with alcohol, they are obviously going to possess the low boiling point. Next is density, they are lighter than water. And if we talk about nature, so they are actually volatile and inflammable. They are volatile and inflammable. They catch fire easily. You know that you must be familiar with the ether fire. You know that we cannot extinguish ether fire with water. You know, water is an extinguisher, but here we cannot extinguish the ether fire within water because the ether actually floats on water. So what do you use in that case? We use CO2 or pyridine in that case to extinguish the fire. So these are all about the physical properties. Now we are going to study about its chemical nature, that what kind of chemical reaction it can actually do. So just look at the board carefully.